Hey there guys and gals, Anime Dude here, and long time no talk. Life's been busy, and I think it's safe to say I've basically retired from YouTube at this point. Likewise, I'm not gonna pester you to subscribe or anything to that effect, but I am still a huge anime and manga fan, so I hope you don't mind me uploading at random every now and again, kinda like this. Today, I want to take a jump back in time and talk about every weekly Shonen Jump manga that ended back in 2021. Now admittedly, I wanted to make this video back in early 2022, but I just never found the chance, and well, here we are. So yeah, let's do it. Blast to the past, 2021, let's talk about all the manga that you forgot existed. And while I say that partially because our memory is short and everybody's always worried about the new hot thing that's releasing every week, I also say that because if you look at the manga that ended in 2021, there wasn't very many big names. Once upon a time, I made a video ranking every weekly Shonen Jump manga that ended in 2020, and I still highly encourage you to check it out if that sounds interesting to you. But that video included big names like Haikyuu, Demon Slayer, The Promised Neverland, etc. Heck, even Chainsaw Man Part 1 ended back then. That all ended within a singular year. Admittedly, I was also trying to read all the weekly Shonen Jump manga that ended in 2019, but that included Gintama. Leading up to 2021, Weekly Shonen Jump as a magazine had lost a lot of its big hitters, and it was still trying to kind of find itself by pumping out a lot of new series that were shortly cancelled thereafter. So let's dive in and talk about these series, ranking them as we go along. Some of you may remember them, most of you probably won't, but regardless, here we go. At number 11 and in last place for these rankings, we have Bokura no Ketsume, or Our Blood Oath. I don't want to linger on this one for too long, otherwise I'm just going to come across as a hater, but if you want a story about vampire brothers, just watch The Vampire Diaries, or something else that's actually interesting. I know it's not exactly accurate to say vampire brothers when talking about Blood Oath, because in this series, one of the main characters is an orphan that was taken in by a vampire couple, and his younger brother, the son of that couple, is the actual vampire. But trust me when I say that you won't really care about all those minute details, as the series itself is just so lackluster. I guess bland could be another good word, because while I kind of see what they were wanting to do with it, there just really wasn't ever anything that hooks you in and makes you want to care. If you like this series, I'm sorry for being a hater, and also no you don't, you gaslighting son of a gun, quit lying to me. Moving on to number 10, we have Nuu Way of the Martial Artist. In this series, our main character trained with his grandpa out in the woods, but goes to high school at a place where there's a lot of martial artists and stuff. It was fun. There was some action. It was cool. I'm honestly kind of a sucker for this genre, and I like a lot of series that are kind of like this, but this one just never really got off the ground. Whether it wasn't good because it was cancelled so soon, or whether it was cancelled so soon because it wasn't good, there's an argument there to be had with a lot of different Shonen Jump manga, and this one is no different. But I do think that this one was missing a special something. I never really found myself that invested or that excited to read it. And there's a lot of other martial arts manga that I would recommend above it. I mean, heck, just go read Kenichi, or even watch The Karate Kid. I mean, they're not the same, but they're better. They're way better. This series it kind of fell flat. At number 9, we have Build King, a classic shonen battle series about carpentry of all things. This is one that I actually thought was kind of interesting just for being unique if nothing else, but it wasn't the best. There's a lot of classic shonen battle manga though that I really like that I didn't like at the start, so sometimes they just gotta get going, and this one just never did. Moving on to number 8, we have The Hunters Guild, Red Hood. This series is one that I don't quite like as much as most people for execution purposes, but overall, the concept was really interesting. My issue with this series was that it spent stretches of chapters not really going anywhere and not really adding much of value, but just kind of lingering on events that weren't all that interesting. That being said, while the pacing felt janky to me, the concept itself was one a lot of people took interest with, and it wasn't long before this series was a hot thing here in the West. There's a lot of shorter manga that Viz never gives a physical English release, but this one did. I mean, it had a pretty substantial audience right out the gate from chapter 1, and I couldn't really tell you why, but while the first chapter was good, it was the follow-up chapters that I personally took issue with. The art was good, Grimm had that Dami-Mami energy at the start of chapter 2, and I really wanted this series to be good. I think a lot of people did. The pacing just really didn't make the most of the chapters that it did have, and then there towards the end, once cancellation was already imminent, it crammed in so much interesting stuff I really wish we could have watched play out. At number 7, we have I Tell C, a series where Risa was pretty memorable. I mean, best girl, but the rest of the series, it really wasn't. And maybe that's not really fair because this series does have moments I remember. It wasn't afraid to take risks, but at the end of the day, I didn't really care too much when it did. If you like quirky characters though, maybe give this a read just for Risa. She raised the rank of this series all on her own. She practically carried it. Moving on to number 6, we have another classic battle shonen called Candy Flurry. Do you remember when the Whole Cake Island arc of One Piece got its own spin-off series, and instead of devil fruits, its people got candy powers because they ate candy? I mean, I do, but admittedly, those memories are kind of few and far between. I honestly remember having pretty mixed feelings on this series. I mean, the concept itself was just a fun spin on a classic genre, and the art was good. This is the part of the rankings where I think this and those ranked above it could honestly be worth the read if they seem interesting to you. Just be sure to temper those expectations and don't expect anything too amazing. It was a passable series that was pretty fun, but overall just kind of a average classic battle shonen. Moving on to the top 5, we have 9 Dragons Ball Parade, a fun little baseball series. This one makes me sad to revisit because I honestly really liked it, although I understand I'm kind of biased towards sports series in general. This one is a prime example of never really truly getting off the ground, as there's a lot of characters in baseball, and we spend so long gathering a team that by the time that team's put together, this series was already getting cancelled. So yeah, don't expect to be blown away, but if you like sports series, this one could be worth the read. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. It just ended way too soon and had a rushed ending. At number 4, we have Mory King, which I'm sure will be a hot topic for debate if anybody else actually remembers that this series existed. To be honest, I am biased because while I don't make videos consistently on this channel anymore, I did spend quite a bit of time reviewing each and every new weekly Shonen Jump series that came out, and that all started with Mory King. To be fair, I've read manga most of my life, so it's not like it all started here, but this was around the time where Jump was publishing manga digitally for the first time, and nobody else really made videos on those new series. Likewise, I thought it would be fun to cover a new series based on its first chapter and follow it week to week, and it was. I had fun with this series. It was a good time. It wasn't anything too special, and I'm sure it's been forgotten to time, but it was just a fun little gag series centered around bugs and bug collecting and things of that nature. I don't even really like bugs. I actually hate bugs, but you know what? I like this series. Go read it if you like short little fun gag manga. At number 3, we have Phantom Sear, which is a series that some of you may actually remember. The art was spectacular, and even though it only lasted 32 chapters, I know it got a lot of comparisons to other series like Jujutsu Kaisen, and people thought it was going to be the next big thing. It was really hyped. I wouldn't say that I loved it to that extent, but I did think it was pretty good, and I do think it ended way too soon. I didn't really understand why this one got cancelled. Since it got cancelled so early on, it's hard to recommend this one wholeheartedly, but if you want to go down the rabbit hole of shonen manga that could have been really good, this one could be worth the read. It had a lot of potential that we just never really got to see fleshed out. Coming in at number 2, we have A Gravity Boys, which is actually a pretty funny series if you have an immature sense of humor like I do. Earth is plunged into a black hole, and on a ship somewhere, the 4 remaining survivors are 3 immature boys and 1 immature boy that looks like a girl. Chris was cute, no homo. Not that there's anything wrong with being homo, but that would be homo, because this is in fact a boy. This is a guy. Not going to be any repopulating the human race in this series, that's for sure. But that's okay. It's good that this manga is a sausage fest because there's so many dick jokes that it's not even funny, or... I mean, it is kind of funny, but yeah, there's a lot of dick jokes. If you care about spoilers, cover your ears for 5 seconds, but in this series, one of the characters towards the end is just a penis in human form. The penis literally turns into a person. He's a person, but he was a penis. My god, like, this series is pretty funny, but I bet I would have found it hilarious back in, like, 3rd grade. But enough about penises. I think I know what we're all here for. You guys want to see what I ranked as number 1 out of all the Weekly Shonen Jump manga that ended back in 2021. I'm not gonna lie to you, if we look at every single Weekly Shonen Jump manga that ended in 2021 as a singular batch, it was pretty lackluster to say the least. Everything aside from a Gravity Boys lasted less than a year, and for the most part there's pretty good reason for that. But despite how bad this draft class is, there is one manga that holds a very special place in my heart. With the first pick out of all the Weekly Shonen Jump manga that ended in 2021, I have to choose Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin. That's right, I've only ever done 2 of these ranking every Weekly Shonen Jump manga from X year videos, so it is going in the Hall of Fame, one of the only 2 winners ever in history. Isn't that kind of crazy? Most people that know me know that I love this manga, but let me tell you why. A cop that was a little bit too hard-boiled was reassigned to work at some remote islands, and there he finds a new co-worker who is a dolphin. That's right. Orpheus F. Lipper, to be more precise. His friends probably call him Flipper. Put some respect on his name. With the premise sounding so silly, and the author previously being known for Beelzebub, a gag manga that I really loved, I expected this to kind of be a comedy series that was really funny. But while this had some funny moments, and the author does his comedy really well when he wants to, this series just got more and more serious as time went on, and it actually pulled it off pretty well. This is one I will wholeheartedly recommend for you to give a try. I think it's really unique, it has a lovable cast of characters, and it turned out pretty well. It's not a masterpiece, but I love it, and I will stand by that. And also, his partner is a dolphin. Come on, guys. That's just funny. It's a dolphin. There's not enough dolphin manga. You gotta go read it. But thank you all for watching. I know I've kind of been MIA on this channel, and I'm not gonna promise now to start uploading regularly or anything crazy like that. But I do miss making videos when I get the opportunity, and I figured why not just do it, you know? Sometimes when you stop doing something for so long, it almost becomes kind of scary to go back to it. So if you made it this far in the video, honestly, just thank you for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and Anime Dude out.